sometimes people get in positions and they've been in them for so long that they are just they're okay with being meeting successfully. They're okay with mediocre work. I just want to do this till I retire. I don't want to do no more. I don't want to, I've heard that a lot, although I understand that you just need to be on this job just to do enough, I just think you're cheating yourself when you do that. When there's so many opportunities for you to grow and do things, why not?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Entrepreneur and Leader Evolution, where mindset meets skill set to optimize your performance both in life and business. I am here with Freta Rogers. She works for Redstone Network Enterprise Command Center, and she is the branch chief of Enterprise Services Division. So, without further ado, welcome, Freta. How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing? Thank you for
I am.
inviting me. I
Thanks for
appreciate
being
that.
on. Thanks for coming
Yes,
on and, and sharing an hour of your time on a Saturday, no less.
I know, right? Before my birthday.
Oh goodness! See, well, thank you even times two. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as you heard in the title, this is for entrepreneurs and leaders. Entrepreneurs are leaders, but we're talking about leaders across the board. So today we're gonna really get into leadership. I know you've been in that leadership game for many, many, many of years. And so I have some, some questions to pick your brain on. And so we're going to jump right on in.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So you spent years in leadership, as I just said, in different environments too, right? Government, corporate, thing, across the board. So tell us a little bit about what you do, and more importantly, what has kept you committed to leadership over time?
So, what I do now currently, I'm in federal government, and I work here at the Huntsville, Alabama Redstone Arsenal, and I manage a team of 13 highly technical servers administrators. So, what we do is manage mission critical networks for the military, for the Army specifically, and we set up. We do servers, we do virtualization, we do patching, that kind of thing. I mean, anything dealing with server admin, that's what I do. I manage that team with projects, with work, everyday workload, things that we have to do on a daily basis. So, in a nutshell, that's what I do. And I picked that because that's the field that I came from. So, I've been a server admin probably almost all my life. Started out doing desktop and then quickly moved into server administration. So I've been doing server administration for many years. The reason why I decided to go into leadership, number one, was to make a change. Number two was because I always felt like there were leaders. My supervision didn't really know the background of what we did, so I always wanted to be a leader that could speak and talk the talk and also understand what my subject matter experts were talking about, not just depend on them, but I also wanted to be technical as well. So I felt like getting an understanding of what they do and knowing what they do would help me as a manager or as a leader, right? So, and also I wanted to make a change. I wanted to be able to hire people like me. I wanted to be able to, make sure that my team, that it was fair and that I had really good technical people there that could support the effort of whatever is going on. Because some people get looked over in interviews. I'm gonna be frank. It's the good old boy system out there sometimes. And when I say that, I mean that's just a network of people, right, that look out for each other. And sometimes we're not at those seats and we're not in those positions to help pull in other people and have a diverse team that I think is very critical and important.
Yes, that representation is extremely important, and the more diverse, the stronger the company. Now, that's what people
Absolutely.
don't understand. You get so many that looks like you have a one limited perspective of thinking for your company. You're not,
Right.
you're not catering to the masses.
To the mass, right. That's
Yes.
exactly right.
I'm gonna pause it for a minute and cut this light on. And I hope on you. Are you fuzzy on your side or are you clear?
It looks clear. It looks clear for me.
Okay, I think it. So on this, it uploads locally on you, and it uploads locally on me. So even though I see you fuzzy, it should be clear because it'll come from your database when we end. So I wanted to just make sure though.
Yeah.
Okay, back on. So that's already one thing she'll be cutting out of here. Okay. Now, when you think about how you lead today, what has influenced that the most? What, things, when you think about various things that make us a leader, is like our background, our experiences, challenges we faced along the way. So yeah, what's influenced that the most?
I think the biggest thing is for me is I've seen my parents lead in their profession, actually in their community, their life. They've just been natural born leaders. Neither of my parents went to college. They did finish high school, but they never went to college. But I've always seen them in their jobs work hard, and they've always set a precedence of leadership in both of their careers. So I've seen it all my life, and I think they say leaders are born, but I believe they can be created too. But I definitely feel that I have this thing in me that leads. It's a natural thing. I enjoy doing it. And then there are times when I want to sit back in the cut and just in the background and just kind of watch things and lead silently. So I just had that, I feel, natural born leadership thing that I like taking care of. Okay, I'm a people person. I love taking care of people. I like having a rapport, a relationship with people. It's not just work to me. I like to build a family oriented team to
Oh,
where,
I love that.
um, yes, to where we talk about everything, and that whole open door policy totally works for me in my environment, because if I don't know that my people are suffering or hurting or in need of something, I don't feel that I'm an effective leader, because I'm not catering to what they need to be better. So I've always had that type of relationship. So a lot of times, especially when you lead a lot of males, they're not interested or comfortable with being vulnerable.
I
So when I come, look, when I come into an environment and that's what that I own, and they see that's the type of leader I am, it takes them a minute to get used to that. But once they open up, I have them. That's the thing of wrapping around the pinky finger. I have them, and then they look out for me, and then I look out for them, because that's the type of team and environment that I like to build. I want my team to be able to perform, and I want them to know that I truly care about them and their families, not just about get the work done. So that's one of the things about leadership that I like too. And also, I want to see my team thrive. I'm very big on training. I'm very big on what can I do to help you. I'm very big on how to advance you in your career if there are programs out there. And sometimes I know for me, going through the ranks, I don't believe I've gotten that much from each leader I had. So I always take notes in areas where I was not the leader and what I would do different. And so those are the things that I've learned over time, is those are the things that I think that matter to me. And I would think that they would matter to any tech that's or person that's working, that's trying to grow. They want somebody to help foster that, right? So those are the things, and those are the reasons why I choose leadership.
Man, that hit on a lot. I was actually going to ask you, how would you describe your leadership style today? But I think you just answered that, right? It's like
Mhm.
leading, one is like, don't just, you know it from the inside out, like you in this thing. And
Mhm.
then I've also heard you say you have a family oriented approach, like you lead with care. You lead
Mhm.
with like care from the heart,
Mhm.
and then that combo of getting it done and stuff, you lead with
Right.
that expertise. I
Mhm.
think that's a hard blend for people a lot of the time
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
well. So anything, like if we were putting it for people to take a mental note,
Yes.
anything you would summarize about like your leadership style today and how that's evolved over time?
So I think I started off as too much caring.
Mm,
Remember
good
some
point.
Yeah, so, there's some leaders that would bring that out to me, like above me, my division. But I don't know what they were called at the time, but they were higher than me. Senior level leaders is what I'm going to say. They would give me advice and feedback on my performance evals. And one guy said, "You laugh too much." And I'm thinking to myself, do I really? And he was like, "Yeah, every time you talk or when you're conversing with people or your team, you laugh a lot." And I had to really think about that. So I was like, is that a negative thing, or is that what is that? And is it an habitual thing that I thought I may have been doing? So I caught myself doing that. And that was something I definitely have tried to correct over the years, because I don't know if it was a nervous thing that I do
That's
when
what
I
I was
talk,
wondering.
if I just kind of, when I say something, it's a laugh, right? So I think that's what it was. I worked really hard at not doing that anymore, but I still catch myself doing it. But just getting advice and things from them, that was one of the things they said. You try to be a friend, or you try to be on their level, and you have to set boundaries. That was another thing that I was told, is I need to set boundaries. But here's the thing: when you're being promoted from within and you're already at your team, your peers already. So then when you get promoted, I had a hard time navigating how to not be a peer anymore, and now I'm the supervisor. So
Oh
that
yeah.
was hard. That was extremely hard. But that was another thing that I had to learn too, is when you get promoted from within, you got to set boundaries at that point. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to still be the peer, but now respect me as the supervisor. But it took a minute for me to figure out the boundaries for that too, because sometimes your peers get comfortable with you and then they forget you the supervisor.
So true.
So yeah, so my style changed over time with just learning from different senior leaders who would point things out. And I appreciate those that pointed things out during my performance eval to help me be a better leader. But the technical side I've always had. It was just the people side, which is a big piece of it that I had to learn to navigate through. And even trying to help people do better without just being blunt and direct with what's going on.
Mhm.
There's a way you have to finesse things nowadays. You just can't say what's on your mind like back in the day. Now we have to be very careful with how we construct our words with our employees, because of, just the time. It's just different times, and people are different, and people receive criticism and constructive criticism differently. So I'm having to learn how to navigate that at this point in my life.
I see. So you mentioned something I think is crucial for leaders. One, being promoted from within, which is what happens most of the time. And then two, it's like when you have you have the skill set to be the leader, like you're good at the thing, you understand it. But then leadership isn't just about the skill set, right? You said, "Oh, these people problems. What do I do with these people problems?" Right? And then to transition it into managing people, managing a team and leading a team on top of the
Hmm.
skill set, right? That's a
Right.
craft. It takes
Hmm.
time. And I heard you say boundaries is one of those things. And that's something that I often like when I come in and work with like leaders, executives, things of that nature, or in businesses. This is like where I'm. This is my wheelhouse of what I'm focused on. Right, is
Hmm.
working on
Yes.
these dynamics within the teams that play, and helping them, add another skill set to the mix, which is the people, managing the
Yes.
people and leading the
Mhm.
people. So well said. And you also mentioned, that people say leaders are born, a lot of that. And I do agree that there's like a something within you is probably like, I lean toward this thing. This is
Mhm.
just a part of my identity, how I see myself. But I
Right.
also heavily agree that the skill can be strengthened once you know you have that. And so that's what it sounds like. It's like,
Right.
yep, I knew it was there, but I've strengthened it over the years, as things have come up, as we all need to be growing and
Yeah.
doing. Any specific boundaries that stand out that really help with that transition? I think a lot of leaders could benefit from just insight on how do you make that transition from peer to lead.
Yeah. So the boundaries for me, definitely, I had to set. specifically communication,
Communication.
um, making sure that they communicate the correct information and time and in a timely fashion. Punctuality is very huge for me. If I set a deadline, making sure that your team understands that's critical for you, because I think sometimes they don't understand. You also have to report to someone.
Right.
So you're trying to get information so that you can get it to, who you report to. Not that you're, and then the boundary was, you know, even if we are close, even if we were good close peer workers and we went to lunch together and we hung out and did these kind of things, I feel like those peers now need to understand that now I'm in a different level. That's not something I'm going to always be able to do. I'm just not going to, my time schedule is going to be different than yours because you don't have the responsibilities that I have now. I think people forget that when you move up, versus they think, oh, she's changed, or
Right.
she thinks she's all of that. And no, I really have to set a precedence for myself where now I don't take lunches as much as I probably should. I may take a 30-minute lunch or a 15-minute lunch. I don't get to take a full hour lunch like we used to do. So I don't get to go out as much. But setting those type of boundaries, and then just making sure. So this is the other thing, going from caring to being and I don't want to say dominant, but I have, when I've taken those metrics or those leadership styles, I am a bit of a dominant person,
I gotcha.
knowing when to turn that on and turn that off, because I don't always want to be like, do it because I said so. I want to be so more so like, hey, we're a team. We need to get this done. You're a professional. I'm a professional. If I ask you to do something, you should do that. So sticking them to those terms and those things that way, that's when the dominant side turns on, and for them to respect that and respect that and know that, okay, she's putting on her leadership hat here. It's what they call it, code switching.
Yeah.
You code switch a lot in this position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the boundaries that I've had to learn how to set early on. And to stick up for myself in places where it's just me
Yep.
a lot.
Those are practical good points, and I hope people are taking notes, because the one thing, and I mean there's many things, but one thing that's very important is if you don't have communication, strong communication strategies or skills in
Hmm.
leadership, you gonna struggle for a minute until you get them right. So that's what I'm hearing, and pivoting in that communication, right, like knowing when is it time to be direct, as you said,
Yeah. Yep.
clear
Hmm.
and direct. When is it time to
Yes.
be, supportive and, helping build morale? And you kind of have to
Yes.
have emotional intelligence to read the room, to read your people, all the things, right? So yeah, leadership comes with many hats.
Absolutely. Everything you just said, emotional intelligence. That's a new thing now.
Yeah, that's the new name, right? But it's
That's a
always
new name.
it's always been there, or something we needed to be doing.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Very good. So that kind of brings me to another question about, leadership comes with opportunities, but it comes with
Yeah.
pressure. Comes with
Yeah.
pressure as well. And so let's flip the coin. Like, what are some of the most rewarding parts of being a leader?
When your team succeeds, when your team meets the deadlines, when they're recognized from senior leadership, when you see someone get a certificate or certification, or when you see someone go above and beyond, because my work ethic is above and beyond. I typically expect my team to do that, but I've realized everybody's not going to give that. But the
Yep.
rewards to me are definitely just, even if it's just one person, to see them move past a challenge they had, that's rewarding to me. Or that they, uh, like I said, awards and recognitions, applying for different programs that they offer within the federal government, or anywhere. They have so many programs out there that you can apply for. I love to see my team thrive. I like to see that they want more, and that they want growth. So to me, anytime that happens, and anytime, of course, we meet our goals and we meet our suspense deadlines, those things are always um, a happy time for me to see
Amen.
that happen.
And you know what
Mhm.
I've noticed is that helps with retention. Like you're
Yeah.
fostering a work culture of thriving, growing, learning, pushing, excelling.
Yes.
And when people feel stuck, they feel like there's nowhere to go. There's not much to
Absolutely.
do in here, or even that their
Hmm.
leadership doesn't even want them to really
Hmm.
do
That's
better.
true.
It creates turnover. It's like it's time to
Absolutely.
ride out.
Absolutely.
That's
That's true. I mean, even for ourselves, if we're thinking about our own careers, that is so true. When I got to a point where I felt stuck or I felt like my leadership wasn't supporting me in a way that I needed, or the career path that I was thinking I should be going, yeah, it was time for me to start
yeah.
looking.
Facts. And so on the flip, then what are some of the challenges that people don't, it's the people that don't fully see it, right? Until you're in the role, you don't really know what it's like to walk those shoes. So what are some of the challenges that you face in leadership?
So for me recently is cohesiveness, making sure your
Mm,
team is cohesive, because now I'm thinking about the leaders who have to manage remote teams. So if you have teams that are in remote site that are not there, that don't get to see you physically and don't get the one-on-one time with you, it is so hard to bring that cohesiveness together, that you're part of the team, even though you don't see me, even though I don't get a chance to, we don't physically get a chance to interact with each other. Trying to build that cohesiveness within a team with those that are remote has been a huge challenge for me. And I've worked remote positions before and I've led some, but when you get kind of thrown into that situation, where they were used to being siloed on their own,
mm,
trying to pull them into the fold of now we're a central region, um, that's kind of been a challenge for me, is to connect with those people, and because I'm big on people, right, and I'm big on that connection. So making sure that I connect with them has I'm trying to still figure that out. I'm still working on that. I'm still, trying to make sure that that rapport is there, that they trust me, because you have to build trust in any relationship, in any work relationship. You have to have trust, right? They don't know me, I don't know them. So we're working on trust, communication, and knowing that, people think that, oh, she's just a normal leader. No, I'm different. I thrive myself on being different.
mm-hmm.
I'm not the typical IT leader or boss. I do things differently, and I need them to give me that opportunity to show them that. So that's a challenge. A challenge is another challenge that I'm noticing is motivating people to
Ooh,
want better and to do better. Like, so motivating people to do more, or to, and I'm not talking about the above and beyond type of thing. I'm just saying achieve something, set a goal. When I'm
right.
looking at individual development plans, I make my team do them. It's not an option. You have to do an individual development plan every year, because I want to make you think about things that you could be trying to do to grow yourself, right? And sometimes I look at those individual plans and I'm like, well, you don't really have much to target for. So I need you to put more goals in there. And so then I have to have a coaching or mentoring moment with them to say, well, what do you think about possibly looking into this? Or these are the things that the team needs. This is direction that we're going. Why don't you look at taking this course? Or why don't you take a course every quarter? I try to challenge them that way to see if that motivates them. But the motivation piece, that's been tough, because in the long run, or really, if we're being honest, they have to make that decision if they want it. I can, what they say, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. I can
Mm-hmm.
take you as far as I can take you, but ultimately it's up to you to decide to do better, or to, to increase that growth that you're in this your career field that you chose.
That is so well said. So cohesiveness and motivation. And when I think about those, it brings me to thinking about work culture as a whole. Because and one like for one part, we're gonna have that bell curve of people in every employee situation. You're gonna have those that are above average. You're gonna have the good chunk is just settling, like I just want to do my job. I don't really want to do no better, no worse. This is the
Yep.
job and get my paycheck, keep it moving. And then you have people below, right? Like you're writing up, uh why my mind is blanking right now, but what do you call those when you write up the things to help them to get do
The
better?
pit personal, yeah, a development plan. Yeah,
There we
yep.
go.
Hmm.
Like my mind
Hmm.
just, girl, let's look. I ain't got enough tea in me yet. But yes, so people on that bell curve, and so you kind of having like knowing that expectation you're gonna have them across, but also the work culture. It's like if they see themselves as just an employee collecting a check and they don't feel like a part of the movement of the mission
Yeah.
of the leadership, and that's usually like up, like to feel like you're making impact into a thing, that goes with that bell curve as well.
Yes.
Since we're on work culture for the audience, let me kind of define. Work culture is the environment that the leaders create, and then they create it through their expectations, their communication, and their daily behavior. And work culture is not just like the direct leadership. Work culture is from the top leadership all the way to like the direct supervisor of the leadership,
Yes.
and then the
Hmm.
employees build the morale around that, right? So
Hmm.
it's not just what written in your policies or your values, it's the experience someone has, and leaders
Absolutely.
have a direct impact on that. So that's for the audience, for like, because there's a range of people that may hear
Hmm.
this. I don't want to assume for
Yes.
everything. So
Hmm.
I guess, so my question would be with work culture. I would say, well, let me get my 2 cents. So as leaders, they're building and shaping their culture of their teams, their organizations. I often see that as people move up, the demands increase. The internal support doesn't always, it doesn't always evolve in the same space as the
Hmm.
person's moving up. And so some strong leaders, even strong leaders, can find themselves navigating between like things like decision fatigue or pressure to perform, managing their team dynamics, under the work culture, and carrying the weight of all those things.
Right.
And so a lot of the work that I focus on with like helping leaders strengthen how they think, regulate, and respond under
Hmm.
pressure is so they can,
Hmm.
they can lead effectively and sustainably, more importantly, so that they can create like healthier, more effective work environments. So that's kind of how I see how I work in this space a bit.
Hmm.
Your experience in leadership, how does this show up for your leaders in the workplace? And like what impact does it have on the culture they're trying to build for, teams, overall performance?
Yeah, we're still working on our work culture. So what I've learned in corporate is so much easier to define a work culture and work within that. It's typically already set, right? You can definitely kind of alter your internal team, but with federal government, that's a different work culture, and it's not the easiest to break. It's not the easiest to mold. Um, you kind of get looked at crazy when you try to do different things sometimes. So it really depends on your senior leadership and if they're susceptible or acceptable to you trying to shift the culture change. But you said that so perfectly. It has to be a full effort of that division from the bottom to the top. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But within my own internal team, I try to do things again. Like I said, I'm different, so
Love
I try to make sure that they laugh. I try to make sure that we have fun. Um, I and also get the work done. So um, those things with the culture has, like I said, that's another challenge I have, especially with remote sites too, is including them in the things that are happening, the things, making sure that they are communicated to. Sometimes they feel left out if they hadn't heard anything. So still working on that full culture thing, and that takes time, right? That's not
it. Takes
something that's
time.
going to happen overnight. You just have to keep working towards it. What I've noticed is um, patience, is having patience and knowing that as long as I continue to thrive and keep going down the path that I'm trying to show my team, at some point they're gonna pick it up and see she's genuine. She's really trying to do the right thing by us. She really cares, and so we're gonna work hard and make sure she succeeds as well. Um, you said something I was gonna expound on when we were talking about work culture. It left my thought.
It might
So
come back to you.
I know, right? So that's one of the things. Oh, work life balance. We throw that word around a lot. Work life balance and what that really means, and is that even attainable sometimes when, like you said, more work is being put on us. People are, I mean, I don't, I mean, I'm sure people are following within the federal government. There's been downsizing
Yes, a
due
lot.
to the administration. They decided they wanted to downsize federal government. So when you start downsizing and people start leaving, and um, the workload doesn't go anywhere, so it's got to be put somewhere. Somebody got to do it. So then you assume that extra workload, then you have to put that on your people. And I really struggle with that. I really struggle with overloading my people when I know they have families and I know they have life outside of work. And I don't want to burnout is so huge. It's big.
Yes.
I don't want to burn them out. So with the way I try to handle that and to manage that is I ask my leadership for senior leadership for priorities. Right now, you got us doing 10 things. What's priority? What's the top three things that you would like to see us get done? Because these other seven they're gonna have to take a back seat.
Yeah.
The top three things that you really want us to focus on, we'll focus on, and if we can get to those other seven, we will. But this is gonna be our focus. I have to have a focus. And if you come in and tell me I got to shift, and now those top three things are not my focus, just know that that was a decision senior leadership made, and then we have to pivot and change, and then now we got to focus on something else. I mean,
Yep.
that happens all the time, right?
It does.
So
It does.
work life balance is something I'm still trying to. I really do, especially people with kids. I mean, I was a single mom, so I totally understand that. You got kids you have to attend to. Things can happen with kids at any time, so we have to be respectful of that. And I just don't want anybody to ever think that your family does not come first. It does. No matter how we look at it, we have to. Because if you're concerned about what's going on at home, you cannot be fully optimal for me at work. So that's all a part of the work life balance thing, right? And I also push, and I'm wrong for this. So if anybody sees this at work with me, I'm sorry, but I also push fitness. I think fitness is huge. You need to go walk. You need to go work out. You need to go do something. So those 15-minute breaks that you get, take a walk around the parking lot. Just kind of digress, or do whatever you got to do to get back in the mood of working and to get your brain stimulated. Sometimes you have to do that. So that's my little work life balance piece and how I try to set that work culture for my team.
Those are very good practical tips too. Work life balance is that's my wheelhouse right there. And I agree, work life balance is probably not realistic. Work life harmony, yeah. And
Hmm.
meaning like the example you just gave of harmony is about all the things that's on the plate, kind of in sync in a way that, is harmonious to your life at this moment. And so if you have 10 projects, like you said, well, that ain't realistic. We got 24 hours in a day. We work 8 to 8 hours a week, maybe 10 if it's overtime because of all this stuff. But you only got
Right.
so much time. And so what can we do? What are the top
Hmm.
three things? And prioritizing that helps with that harmony versus I'm gonna throw all 10 at my team. And so yeah, it's harmony. But both in
Hmm.
your personal life and in your business is harmony. What's in alignment with your energy, time, and values, and how much time do you have to put to these things? So very
Hmm.
well said. One thing I'm praising you for, right? I'm gonna give you your flowers. Is what I'm hearing is you've created psychological safety with your team. That is very hard to achieve, especially like right now when things are so uncertain in the world and just how that affects things.
Right.
And so for the audience, right, psychological safety is one of them new buzzwords too, a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So in case we don't know what that is in the workplace, psychological safety is like when someone feels secure enough in their environment to express themselves openly, and whether that's sharing an idea, whether it's that you made a mistake, challenging something, or even giving the praise, but being able to openly put out there your thoughts and feelings about a thing, and from a performance standpoint, and it directly impacts how people think, communicate, and execute in their role if they don't feel psychologically safe, or if they do,
Right.
right?
Right.
And from what I'm hearing, like, you have a very like warm-hearted, I care, like, we're work, but it's like work family kind of
Mhm.
feel, and
Mhm.
express that you want to hear, and you encourage their well-being. And like I said, in today's environment with so much uncertainty, change in the workforce and all the things, leaders aren't just managing performance, they're managing people's
Yes.
sense of state, safety, and
That's
stability.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so, from
That's
your
true.
experience, what does that look like for a leader to create psychological safety in their teams? I think this one is a challenge.
It is. It is. Well, I mean, again, like we talked about before, trust. A person has to trust you to even be vulnerable enough to be able to say those things that you just said. So I gotta trust you. Most people feel like, because if I tell you this information, what's the repercussions? What's gonna happen to
Right.
me if I say I messed up, or if I say I failed to do something, or if I continue to keep making the same mistakes over and over? I like to tell my people, this is where the coaching and mentoring piece comes in. Is that when we talk, this is between us. The only time I'm going to start putting pen to paper is when it's something habitual that you keep doing,
Right.
and you're not explaining to me why. If I don't know why, then to me that's just you're being you're just not doing what you're supposed to do. So I'm looking at that as a negative thing. But if we're talking and I understand what's going on, to me that's better. So I'm trying to always explain to my team, you got to talk to me. Put 15 minutes on my calendar. Frida, I need some one-on-one time with you. I need to talk to you about what's going on with my workload. I need to talk to you what's going on with my family if you choose to. I don't make that a it's not something that they have to do. I just leave it open for them to be able to talk about those things if they choose to. But that then builds those type of trust to say, okay, she understands, she wants to know, because some of my team members think y'all don't care.
Right.
You don't really want to know what's going on with me at home or with the things that I got to deal with. But to me as a supervisor, sometimes we may not want to hear those things, but I think it is important that we let them know whether I can connect with what you're going through or not. I'm still listening, and I'm still going to I need to take that into consideration. In some situations you can't, but in most situations we can at least listen and hear. What do they call it? Active listening. The different type of listenings that we do. I try to definitely be an active listener, and then making sure that I don't necessarily need to respond, because sometimes they just venting. So I need to know when you're venting versus when you need me to help you solve a problem. Because
Yeah.
I'm a problem solver just by nature. Like, okay, you mad, you upset, let's talk about it. Now how we gonna fix it? Sometimes people don't want you to fix it. Sometimes they just want to talk about it. So I try to spearhead and manage those different type of relationships, and everybody's different, right? I have 13 people. It may be 11 now, but I have 13 people that I'm responsible for. So that's a lot. And that's another challenge that I'm trying to make sure that I give myself time to connect with each one. I have not probably connected with each one on the level that I would like to, but we just had this change, and so I'm still working on it, and that's something I'm still trying to figure out. How do I build that rapport individually and collectively as a team? Is they get the same thing my people get who are right here with me. I want to make sure that happens. So um that is definitely something that I'm trying to work on, is making sure that they're safe, they can talk to me about anything. uh the vulnerability piece, and I manage a team, and I'm not sure if this matters, and or hopefully this is okay, but I manage a team of men. I think I may have two women on my team, but the women, they have no problems talking, communicating. That's what we do as women. But it's the men who you try to get to open up and just be honest about what's going on, and just tell you everything that's going on. And I don't have to know everything, but the things that affecting your job, that are affecting what's going on, I I definitely want to know, and I definitely want to figure out if there's a way to help. Fix that. Then let's work on fixing it. And if it's not, let's talk about it. Let's vent about it, and hopefully that helps. So that safe environment is important not only to me, because there are things going on in my life as a leader that I may slip up and tell one of my team, one of my employees, and respecting that, and then knowing that sometimes it doesn't go anywhere. That trust that's going to stay between me and you, and that's not going to go anywhere else. Because when you're talking about people's vulnerabilities and things that are going on in their life, that does not need to be broadcasted to the world, or to
Facts.
anybody outside of that conversation. So again, that's back to the trust and creating that type of safe environment for them to talk.
Yeah. Well said. I hear the efforts in how you lead, and I commend that. I definitely commend that. And I think one thing that people, just simple things of what you're mentioning, is part of psychological safety is to normalize and name the thing, right? Like
Hmm.
leaders are dealing with constant transition and
Hmm.
change within how they're leading and what they got to lead and what we got to do, all the things you just explained.
Uh-huh.
And so, like you said, like in this time of uncertainty, it's even opening up with just modeling that, right? Like not putting your business in the street, but modeling like that. Here's the signs of the times, and here's where we are, right?
Yeah.
And like, let's just address the elephant in the room of like, this is the
Hmm.
state of affairs in the
Hmm.
business and in the world, and this is how it's showing up in our workplace, right? Just being like, name it, like, let's just name it, and being okay with that, and then and being open to saying, yeah, like, might have some emotions or some reactions to this kind of
Right.
thing, and normalizing that does, it could open the door to, that the space is there to speak up if you choose. And so yeah, you gave really good practical points. So for those, this is a very practical interview.
Hmm.
Y'all go back, listen, take notes, because some of these things, she has learned through years of leadership experience, and these are very good points. A lot of the points you talk about are things I talk about with people to do. So
Yes.
like, take these notes, y'all, because she's living it and telling you how it looks in real time. One last question before we wrap would be, when it comes to leading teams, what's something you learned about people that's changed how you lead? And more importantly, how can leaders listening today apply it in their day-to-day interactions with their teams?
Yeah, that's a big one. People, people is big. Period. Because there's so many different type of people that you. I mean, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've had to learn. Everybody is different. And then not only is it different, you have to now be considerate of their lifestyles. You now have to be considerate of their beliefs. You now have to be considerate of anything dealing with people. Their communication style may be different. Some people talk too much, and some people don't talk enough.
Talk
And
enough.
you you have to be able to. So I'm learning. I have to pull from some, and then I have to tell some fall back. uh,
Right.
like, hey, I have this one person, very highly technical. Love him, but he is very detailed. So it's like when you're writing to senior leadership, they don't want a thesis. They don't want a dissertation. They want the short, tell me what it is, and I'm done. So I'm having to learn to adapt to people, to where, and learning to meet people where they are. Um,
Yes.
you want a high performing team. They tell us that all the time. Leadership, having high performing teams, how to achieve a high performing team. Hey, everybody is not high performing on your team.
There's
You
that bell
can.
curve again we talked
That's
about.
about exactly. You can say that all you want, and you can desire that all you want, but everybody is not on the same level, and everybody you just, and I'm just not gonna say everybody has to be high performing. Everybody has to go above and beyond. It's sometimes it's not in everybody to do that. So people, like I said, meeting people where they are, and then asking. Um, how would you like to develop as a person? I like to look at personal, professional, and hobbies. I talk about hobbies. They know I love karaoke. They know I can't sing a lick, but I love singing, and dancing. Cultivating those things with people, and like I said, building that rapport with them so that they are comfortable with making a joke every now and then, or being fun, having fun, being able to laugh. I think laughter and being able to smile is so important, that because if you come to work every day and you're grumpy, or you're mad that you don't want to be there anymore, it affects your work, it affects the team, and people notice that. So I'm always paying attention, spouting off emails. People get to going back and forth in emails. I'm like, let's nip this in the bud. Let's have a conversation, because it's showing in your emails that there's something going on that we need to fix. So learning people, like you said, that is something that we all leaders need to make sure that we concentrate on, and realize they're humans. They're not robots. As much as we want to think that AI is going to come in and solve world's problems, you're going to always need a person. A human touch is going to always be needed. Um, they don't they don't think like we think. So to me, you're never gonna be able to just get rid of humans. So understanding the way to I guess address people, to respect people, to communicate with people, to promote. I don't want to say to make them do anything. I always say promote, grow, assure, evaluate, those things. I use those words. You can't make a person do anything. Even though I'm the leader and you're my subordinate, you're supposed to do what I ask you to do. You're supposed to do what I say do. But at the end of the day, they have the choice to either excel or not excel. So I try to use buzzwords that doesn't seem like I'm trying to tell you what to do, but I'm trying to help you and make sure that we still get the thing done. So, yeah, the whole people thing. Oh my goodness, Nina, that's a topic I think that we all, anytime there any kind of skills or training, like you said, those are the things that you concentrate on. We all need to be in those classes as leaders, because what we do affects them. So if we're not leading correctly, if we're not concentrating on that people aspect of things, you lose your team. You don't connect with your team, and then you probably won't get the performance out of your team that you would like to have. So those are the things that I definitely try to concentrate on. And then as a person, I look at what I want. What would I want in this situation? How would I want my leader or my director to handle me in particular situations that are going on with what I'm dealing with? And putting myself in other people's shoes has helped me tremendously. Um,
Look, the golden rule will take you far. Just the golden
do
rule will
unto
take you far.
others. That's so true. That is so true. So,
Yeah.
and I think those are things that I've learned over the years too. Is you're right. Do the golden rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and that is extremely important. So I agree with that 100%. And you can
Man,
always grow. And you can always learn. It's
always.
never you never know everything. It's always
Always.
room to grow.
Thank you so much for your expertise. This has been very enlightening. It's been very informative, and it's real talk, man, from a leader that's been doing it for in the game a minute. So if you're a leader, I strongly encourage you to listen to this one. This is years. This could leverage you some years of struggle if you
Yes.
take heart to some of the things in here. And what I always encourage you is like don't take everything that was talked about today, but hone in
Right.
on 2 to 3 and do that for the next 3 months or so, and get
Yeah.
that habit forming so that you can see the results of that in your teams and
Right.
as in your leadership style. But
Mm-hmm.
don't just listen to these things and be like, oh, that was food for thought. Don't do it
Mm-hmm.
like no Sunday sermon, like, ooh, I'm filled up with the word, and then you don't look at the Bible, don't crack it open till next Sunday, and then here we
That's
go
right.
again. Apply, apply, apply. Listen to learn, and then to earn the result that you want. Don't just listen to
That's
listen,
right.
y'all. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Frida, for coming on.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for like sharing your wisdom and nuggets. It has truly been a pleasure, and it's been informative
Yes.
for me as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on too.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.